Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode 0, I guess, of season 3 of dimecomicbros podcast. This is a very special episode. We've been waiting for this for a long time. We have a special guest with us. Please introduce yourself, special guest.
Hello, I'm Jeff Lorentz. I'm an artist from Maine. I'm an old pal of Colin's from way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Colin.
Hey.
Colin waved, and our listeners couldn't see it.
But they could feel it. Okay.
So Jeff put out a book on Free Comic Book Day a couple of months ago.
Yep, I put out a book. It's called My Coworkers A Vampire. Just a black and white self-published book. I've been slowly chipping away at it over the past probably 6 months or so. And
Nice.
Just decided it was time to get it out in the world. Brad from down the stairway to comics was nice enough to have me down there to promote it. So that was cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
Colin's been working on a one single picture for 6 months, and it's still not out yet. So.
Yes, I have been. So Jeff wins this one. I remember when Jeff was talking to me about this at the metal concert we went to.
Right.
But he was very loud then, for sure. Really cool concept he was telling me, and I'm glad I finally got to read it.
So yeah, it's My Coworker is a Vampire, and it's hard to expand on that story because it follows a dude in a cable
Installation.
yeah, basically, and it turns out that the guy training him is a vampire, and he's just eating and killing the customers. So how'd you get this idea?
It's sort of a weird combination of a couple different things. Number one, an inside joke with an old coworker, because I used to repair appliances, so I was in a similar kind of training situation, and they say write what you know, so I did that. Also kind of based on a book I read called The Exterminators, which is by Simon Oliver and Tony Moore. It's from Vertigo Comics. It was, I related to it at the time because it's what I did. It's about kind of like pest exterminators trying to stop the bug apocalypse. And
That's
it was
interesting.
It kind of stuck with me. I was like, oh, blue collar dudes doing their job and weird things happen. So that kind of helped feed into that.
Nice.
Very cool. Colin, do you have anything?
I'll just go right on to the questions.
Okay. So we all came up with a bunch of different questions, which are somewhat overlapping onto each other. So we're going to probably narrow it down a little bit.
At this point, please put a lamp right in your face because we're going to interrogate you.
No lamps with an arm reach, sorry.
Darn it.
Fine, we'll grill you. How about that?
There you go.
So do you consider yourself more of an artist or a fan of comics and like the comic medium?
Probably more of an artist. I mean, I obviously started out as a fan as a little kid, reading all that stuff. The classic X-Men, Captain America, Spider-Man. But as time went on, I just got more and more interested in the craft behind it. And I spend way more time drawing them than I do reading them at this point. So.
Gotcha. Definitely understandable.
Right. You kind of just debunked this question, but by saying that you're more of an artist than a reader. But do you have a favorite comic book that has stuck with you that influenced you being an artist?
A couple that I've read. So long term, I would say Punk Rock Jesus by Sean Murphy, which I got in high school.
Yeah.
Just the manga influence on it and the textures he was throwing at that book was just amazing.
Oh,
So
love that book.
all
Awesome.
the action and everything. Story was great. More short term, the last 2 years I read Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon.
Yep.
And I absolutely loved it. It's got the religious commentary that I love in my books, all the philosophical stuff that really gets me going. Artwork is beautiful and just it pushes a lot of boundaries, which I also enjoy.
I've been eyeballing that one for a long time, and I'm like, it looks like heresy, but I'm kind of curious.
It's definitely heresy, but it's also it's Garth Ennis. It's brilliant.
Right.
So.
What else are you going to be expecting?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of his thing, is pushing boundaries.
Oh yeah.
let's see which one. I don't want to overlap too much on you guys. So what's your music playlist look like while you sketch or ink or just work on any of your artwork in general?
It's kind of eclectic. I'm kind of random depending on how I'm feeling. Naturally, there's a lot of metalcore, hardcore kind of stuff going on, because that's what I've always listened to. But lately, there's been some podcasts going on, like you guys's, and then the Ink Pulp podcast. That's great with Sean Crystal. A couple YouTube channels like Cartoonist Kayfabe and Jerk Comic. I love putting those on and feeling inspired while I'm working. And then, other than that,
I don't like hearing that I'm an inspiration for something. That scares me.
It's good to hear that.
yeah, other than that, just lots of random music. I found that a lot of like jazz and funk is really cool for drawing. So you just get in like this meditative kind of state.
Yeah.
It's really, I dig that. I mean, some kinds of metal will do that too, but.
True.
Don't ask us what we use jazz and funk for.
Oh dear Lord.
It's something entirely different.
What artery
What artery do you think the vampire wants to eat first?
What artist / writer would you like to have a conversation with, living or dead?
I would probably have to go with Ted McKeever, probably. I'm going to be honest. He's kind of a recluse, and I've never been able to find an interview with him.
Huh.
But his work is just really crazy. So I really like that. That, and probably the other person would probably be Jack Kirby, just because absolute legend. Yeah. He's
very good pick
for sure.
So I'll follow that one up with who would your dream team up be? So depending on how you feel, would you team up with a writer and art his story, or would you write for an artist? Like, what would your dream team up be?
Probably, I'm not like super picky about that kind of thing. I just like doing it. I mean, I would love to. I love like Garth Ennis and Joshua Williamson and all their work. Johnny Cates, obviously, is a newer guy who all just write fantastic stories. But I don't know. A lot of the time, I'm just happy telling my own stories, to be honest with you.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's my dream, at least, just processing my thoughts through story.
So to piggyback off of that a little bit,
It's a triple piggyback.
a triple dipper. So what's your method for an illustration or comic, from like layout to sketching to inking, like from start to finish? How do you go about that process?
Yeah. So first I get my script, which I kind of break down by just how much I want on per page. Then I'll take like a piece of printer paper and tear it up into 4 smaller pieces and do a little scribble and kind of figure out what I sort of want the page to look like. Then I'll kind of blow that up to a bigger, I work on 11 by 17 pages. I will do my blue pencils, which is easier to Photoshop out if I have to, and then tighten it up with a mechanical pencil. And then I have a light box that I use, which I love, because it lets me make mistakes in the ink process and then start over if I have to. And then I just slap the pencils on the light table with a new piece of paper and throw a bunch of ink at it until I think I'm done. Nice. I end up making a lot of stuff up on the fly. I'm like, oh, I think we need a shadow here. Let's do this here.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, there's not much of a plan going on for, especially backgrounds and stuff like that. I just kind of slap some ink down and see what works and what doesn't.
That's what I was telling Colin he needs to get is a freaking light box so he could just like draw over it and be like, the thought doesn't fit, and then just throw the whole piece away.
No,
Yeah.
it works. It's more complicated than that. I overcomplicate the process. We won't talk about it.
I will say there's a lot of whiteout on my pages. There's a lot of whiteout.
I relate.
So not to piggyback on that, I'm dropping both of you.
Nice.
Nice.
The
Keep
most generic question imaginable that has unlimited answers. What was your first comic or graphic novel that you remember distinctly leaving an impact on you?
Well, when I was a really little kid, my mom got me these little reprints, and each of them had like 3 or 4 issues of a comic. There was like a Fantastic Four one, a Spider-Man one, but there was the X-Men one, which had some of the original Stan Lee and Jack Kirby X-Men stories in it.
Nice.
Like issues 2, 3, and 4 or something. And those were, the thing's in tatters now. I still have it. It's missing like the cover, and a couple of outer pages are barely held on. I mean, it's a cheap reprint from the early 2000s. It's not. I'm not destroying beautiful originals or anything, but I must have read the thing 100 times.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's so cool that the old school stuff still has an impact, because it's like I want to so badly, but I just get so bored reading the old school stuff. Like, it's really important, there's no doubt, but it's like it's tough to look at sometimes. So
yeah,
the trick is just to not read the captions, because Stan Lee just took a thesaurus and threw the entire thing at
exactly.
Yeah, he was notorious for writing like essays.
Yeah.
If he was doing that nowadays, we'd make fun of him for doing a TED talk in the middle of a superhero book.
It's basically what it ended up being. So yeah, skip the captions and look at the pretty pictures. It's a lot better, because I mean the energy Jack Kirby threw behind his work is crazy.
Absolutely.
So what will the next book look like as far as like a plot? Is it going to be a sequel to this book, or is it going to be something completely different?
Something completely different.
Awesome.
That was a one shot. I'm just calling it. Like my goal is just to get something out there and finish a book, publish it, and say, cool, let's get this out and accomplish something.
You finished this one with the end with a big fat question mark. So
yeah, you gotta have some fun with it. I'll leave it open ended, but I'm moving on. It's gonna be a book called Skin of My Teeth, which I've been cranking through. I just got back the scans for the first 6 pages. I'm gonna get those lettered up. I'm gonna throw those up probably next week.
Nice. I've been watching your progress on Instagram. It looks awesome so far.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's the best work I've ever done. So
nice.
I'm excited for it.
Very good.
It's about 2 private investigators. One of them finds a mysterious book, then goes missing. And then while the other one is looking for clues to say, hey, where's my partner gone? He finds the book, and then the owners of the book, cult, just knock him out and kidnap him and take him back to their spot. And then it's just them trying to get out of that situation. That's going to be another.
Do I smell an X-Files inspiration?
To be honest, I've never seen X-Files.
Whoa.
No.
I'm not much of a TV watcher. I'm much more of a movie guy.
All right.
Very valid opinion.
I can definitely see
not
that.
have the focus to sit through so many seasons of anything. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I haven't watched Breaking Bad. I watched like a season of each of those, but then I just get distracted. And
I hear that.
Understandable.
For sure.
I can't even handle like multiple seasons of a kids TV show. So
yeah.
Talking about Adventure Time.
I haven't even started that. I was talking Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah, even like the 6-episode miniseries we've been getting for Star Wars and stuff is almost too much for me. I can barely handle focusing that long.
I get that.
I need movies. I can only sit through 2 hours. Otherwise, no.
I mean, I can handle long movies. I mean, the Justice League 4-hour cut, I sat through that in one sitting. I just don't watch
Well, you just
remember to come back and get to the same show. I can't really handle
Toes
that.
are curling as we speak.
You guys and your toes.
We make way too many feet.
Oh dear.
All right, so I think I have like one last question, or we're gonna do one more round.
I'm good.
Okay.
So Colin's got the last question.
So I can't ask that one because I was already answered. Okay, so just for funsies, if my coworker is a vampire had a soundtrack, what do you think it would sound like?
Just two radically different things. Number one would be that first My Chemical Romance album, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love.
I was
definitely.
Okay, hold up. I'm going to stop you right there because when I was reading that, all I could think about was My Chemical Romance's first albums. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but I know the whole story was about a vampire and love and shit.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, fuck yeah, that better be the soundtrack.
So it's definitely involved with that. And then the other one would be just random oldies stuff, because when I was being trained for my job, that's what was playing in the work van. So that's what I think of when I think of that stuff.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's
kind
a
of
perfect answer, my friend.
That definitely works. I would listen to that. Now I'm going to go assemble a playlist and send it to you.
We will post this on Spotify.
For sure. Don't give me too many ideas. So is there anything in particular you would like to plug or advertise outside of your current book, is there a place people can get their hands on it right now?
By the time this episode goes up, I'll have a link on my Instagram to an online store to buy it. I've been working on getting that set up. So
Nice.
By the time this episode is live, there'll be an online store for that on my Instagram, which is Lorentz Artwork.
Sweet.
That's not
Cool.
on there. Other than that, there's not. I'm just going to be promoting just about everything else on there. I'm going to start serializing that book towards the beginning of July. I most likely will be starting a Patreon to serialize that on. I think that's a good way to slowly dribble that out into the world.
Sweet. Definitely looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts from anyone?
I particularly like the call out that I don't know. It's not just a call out, but the last page of this book is Jeff basically writing a letter to the reader, and it hit a lot of things that were in my mind. Like, no, he hasn't killed any vampires in any past jobs that he's had. Like that was a legit concern I had.
Yeah.
I haven't killed any coworkers. The person who I have the inside joke with that this is based off of is still very much alive. Still talk with him.
Sure.
I know.
Yeah, we'll believe that for now.
Just don't check my basement. It'll be fine.
And then to just boldface call us out in words. I thought you were just like including our ad in the back, but to actually say something nice about it was a surprise for me. So I appreciate that very much.
It's so awesome seeing that and having like just our advertisement and my art in someone else's book. That's so cool.
Little Colin's growing up.
I'm growing up, Dad. I even got my yellow tablet, you are not.
It was greatly appreciated, for sure, that you decided to plug our stuff as well. So just a proper public thank you for that.
No, of course. We're all in this together, right?
Oh, yeah.
So something that might not be included in the cut, but I'm honestly wondering, do you have any concerts coming up? You going to anything sometime soon?
Soon. I'm going to one tonight, which is an oldies concert with my wife.
Cool.
Nice.
Other than that, I'm not doing too much. There's a couple coming up that I wanted to go to, but then I've got like weddings and stuff I'm going to.
Oh,
People moving forward with their lives and whatnot. Can
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Moshing is forever.
Any other day of the month you couldn't have done. Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
What an inconvenience to me.
So where exactly is this concert so we can dox you publicly?
Don't
actually tell me. Oh, goodness. So I think that's all that we have. We don't want to take up too much of your evening. For sure, enjoy your date at your oldies concert with your wife.
My wife.
Thank you for coming on to the show and for a slice of your time, as well as the wonderful books. We will be first in line to get our hands on the next book when it becomes available.
Dude.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it big time.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.